did a couple movies after that, so I guess he's Freddy there.
Yeah, he's Freddy. I think y'all talking about the extra screen. And she's like, Mom, I'm scared.
The original?
Yeah.
Or didn't they remake that too?
Well, they added uncut.
Oh, okay.
I just like
The original was cheesy.
All right, I'm going live in like 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, it was just that green.
Thank you. Good night. All right. YouTube appears to be up. And I'm pretty sure I got the date right this time.
I'll see y'all later. Good seeing you. Thanks for the cupcake.
Ooh.
All right, bro. Have a good show.
All right, man. Thank you. Just the way you are. Adjust my damn octopus again. Things always on the way. So it's 6:59. I'm early, and this is never going to happen again. I should have just let the title music play. Anyway, what's up, everybody? It's Tuesday night, Tech Talk. I'm your host, Alex Zandermack, whatever you want to call me. JustForFunRadio.com. You can check us out on YouTube. We are broadcasting live right now. And if you feel like calling in, the phone number is 678-760-1556. And the lines are open, as they say. Hang on, got to plug this phone in just in case it dies. So, this weekend was Halloween. And what an absolute joy that was. Right on cue. The tubby little lard monsters come wobbling up and down the street looking to get their redistributed candy. Oh, yeah. Now, here's what I don't understand about Halloween. We spend or parents, I should say. I'm not a parent. I can't stand kids. But parents spend the entire year telling their kids, don't talk to strangers, don't take candy from strangers, don't go into strangers' houses, don't get in the rape van and things like that. And yet once a year, they dedicate an entire holiday where they dress the little puppets up like tiny little prostitutes and send them off to beg from blokes named Melvin and Chester. I don't understand it. However, I guess if the sugar heart attack doesn't kill them, the pervert will. Anyway, it's actually gotten pretty bad, I suppose, because Keith sent me a message. He's now Keith sets up in his garage, and hands out candy from there. And he was overheard some kids walking up the street, and this one little tub of lumbering, the fat ass was complaining, I'm not as young as I used to be, as he struggled up the damn hill. The kid was 12 years old. Does that fat little shit really need a yard bag full of candy? We all know the answer to that. Anyway, that's Halloween. Now I went to the Social House in Porterdale with a group from Just for Fun Radio. Scott was DJing there. That was good fun. Crystal won the costume contest, so that was nice. I didn't wear a costume. I don't dress up. Halloween's stupid. Here's the one thing I'll say about the Social House: not the widest selection of beers. Todd, if you're listening, you need a nice stout or a porter. That would be ideal. Speaking of beer, I have to thank Denise and David. They were here in the studio when I arrived this evening, and Denise said, we got you a surprise. And it was a growler from Gravity Homebrew. They're one of my advertisers in the show. If you watch on YouTube, you actually don't hear the commercials. Everyone on the radio, though, hears them. And so anyway, Denise and David swung by Gravity, and they picked up a growler. It's a Hacker Shore Oktoberfest from München, Germany, or Munich, as they say, in Germany. It says it's a Bavarian barley, slow roasted, caramelized to a rich red amber color, combined with the purest spring waters from the Alps, exclusive yeast, and the finest Hallertau hops. And I can honestly say it is delicious. I'm going to have a little drink here. It's in my Guinness glass. So, deal with that. That's very good. So thank you very much, Denise and Dave. That was very kind of you. Chances are I will polish that off this evening. So, God, I hope I'm on air. Yep, I am. You know what? While I'm ranting, while I'm complaining, I'm going to complain a little bit more about Apple today, because Apple, when Steve Jobs was alive and when he was running the company, they prided themselves on putting out a good product when it was ready. They would not rush something to market just to be able to say, oh, we have this on the market. The latest generation of the Apple TV went on sale this week. And I've really been looking forward to this. I want to get one, and I will get one. However, I am not going to get it just yet. There are a lot of complaints right now about this device. And the complaints tell me that it just isn't ready. It wasn't ready to go on the market. And Steve Jobs is rolling in his grave right now. So the issues people are running into, well, I'm going to compare it with the current Apple TV. So the new one, you bring it home, you unbox it, you plug it in, and you have to set it up. Now, if you have an iPhone, the initial login and setup is quite simple. It does it via Bluetooth, and it grabs the information from your iPhone and fills in your account information. However, from there, anything else you need to enter, you enter using the on-screen keyboard and the remote control, which is it's not a keyboard, it's a touch sensitive trackpad effectively. So it brings up an on-screen keyboard, and instead of being laid out like a QWERTY keyboard, like your standard keyboard, it's just one long line of letters. And it doesn't round robin. And what I mean by that is if you whiz all the way to the right and you're on Z, you should be able to keep going and jump back to A, but it will not allow you to do that. So this becomes an issue now especially with the new Apple TV, because it supports applications. It has its own version of the App Store, and you can download the Hulu app and the Netflix app and ABC, Fox, CNN, everything like that. However, you have to log into those with the credentials for that particular system, service or site. So you fire up Netflix and you have to type in your username and password. With the new Apple TV, you have to use this remote control and on-screen keyboard, because it does not support features that the old Apple TV supported. Now, the old Apple TV, first of all, you could pair a Bluetooth keyboard to the Apple TV and just type normally. So, and that made entering information and searching for programs and shows, made it simple. It was a piece of cake. You could also use the remote app on your iPhone. And when you fired up the remote app, it basically mirrored, it created a touch screen or a touchpad remote control. But also on the Apple TV, when you selected a text field, it popped up the iPhone keyboard and you could type information using the iPhone keyboard. So it made entering information on the Apple TV simple. And the new version of the Apple TV doesn't support either of these. The remote app has not been updated. Hey, buddy. Oh, I have a visitor. A little puppy. The remote app has not been updated. And I don't know if it's going to be updated to support the new Apple TV. I hope it does. But that's something that Apple would normally have released the day the hardware came out. It's almost as if there's no leadership at Apple anymore. I don't know if the engineers and the employees just don't care about, Tim Cook, or they just don't respect his authority or don't see him as a leader anymore. But under Steve Jobs, this never would have happened. The remote app would have been updated and it would have gone live the second the Apple TV went on sale in stores. It's not just the Apple TV. I mean, that's just one example of a poor customer or a poor end user experience. Lately, been a lot of problems with updates on devices. For example, the latest Apple Watch update, some people were stuck for 8+ hours trying to just download an update and apply it to the watch. We've got app updates stalling, just failing to update and sitting on your home screen in a state of perpetuity, at which point you have to, I'm not really sure how to fix it. I kind of faff around until it updates. I think I hit the icon to pause it, restart the phone, hit it again, hope it starts to update. I really don't know how to do it. They've got malware on the App Store. That a couple of instances now of either developers using a rogue set of development tools which embedded malware into the apps and uploading them to the store, and then Apple's verification system failing completely and allowing them to go live. The latest one was, I believe, apps included some kind of Chinese ad server that was sending information off to the Chinese. Who knows? Because Apple don't tell you. Apple don't come clean and say exactly what was happening. They rather you're in the dark and avoid any criticism of them whatsoever. And another issue that I discovered a couple of weeks ago, since updating to iOS 9, there's a feature in iTunes, transfer purchases. So you would plug in your iOS device, your iPhone or iPad, and anything that you had downloaded or purchased directly to the device, you could then transfer to iTunes on your PC and create a backup. Well, with applications, you can no longer do that. Because with iOS 9, they started a system, something called app thinning. Or I should say they've gone back to something called app thinning. When the App Store first launched with, or at least when the iPad was around anyway, they would have two versions of each application, one for the iPhone and one for the iPad. And you could back those up individually. Yes, you would have two copies of the application in iTunes, but you would at least have a backup. Then they started making these universal apps where everything for each device was included in one bundle on the App Store. So the iPhone version and the iPad version was included, and you would download it to each device, and the device would use the packages that it needed. Well, I in order to save space on people's devices, which I agree with, I think going back to thinned apps is a good idea. But in order to save space, you now only download the packages you need to the respective device. But for some reason, Apple have disabled backing up to iTunes. So the only way around this now is to download a third copy or a second copy, depending on how many iOS devices you have. But you download an additional copy, let's say, to iTunes so that you then have a backup. And, these days when you have limited bandwidth on your home broadband, Comcast, I think, have a 300 gigabyte monthly cap. AT&T have a 250 gigabyte monthly cap for UVerse customers and 150 gigabytes for DSL customers. And if you're wasting all of that downloading applications to iTunes that you already have on your iPhone and iPad that you should just be able to back up over USB, well, I don't know what to say. Things are going to hell at Apple. I have to think that people do not take Tim Cook seriously over there. Now, having said that, Q4. Apple reported their fourth quarter financial results this week. Now, Apple use fiscal quarters, so Q3 is actually their fiscal Q4, so which is why they're reporting now. And despite all my complaining, they did remarkably well. I mean, it was a record quarter for Apple. They reported revenue of $51.5 billion with a B, net profit of $11.1 billion, which now I believe puts them over $200 billion in cash on hand, which is outrageous. So revenue was up by 22% year on year, and profit was up 31%. They sold, now let me try and find the numbers here. They sold a ridiculous amount of devices. For the quarter, I want to say they sold almost 50 million iPhones in 3 months. Oh, it's amazing. That's it's like an iPhone per minute or something ridiculous. Yeah, 48 million iPhones sold. They only sold, I think, about 9 million iPads, which is lower than this quarter last year, but it's still great. And I don't think anyone expects people to upgrade their iPads as quickly as they do a phone anyway. I think the big news. Oh well, they sold 5.7 million Macs, which generated 6.9 billion in revenue. iPhone sales alone were $32.2 billion in revenue. That was a 36% increase over this quarter last year. It's just unbelievable. Um, the other interest in there, Apple don't split out of their sales, so we don't know how many Apple Watches were sold, and they bundle the Apple Watch sales into the other category. But the other category went over 3 billion. It was 2.6 billion the last quarter, and it went over 3 billion this quarter. People are estimating that they've sold so far about 5 million Apple Watches, which is more than all the other smartwatches combined. So the Apple Watch is off to a pretty good start. So yeah, Apple, regardless of my complaints, they're doing really well. I'm going to take a break, and I'm not sure what we're going to talk about after the break. I think Danny's going to call in at some point. I'm sure Keith will call in at some point tonight. I got a few stories to go over. It might be a short night tonight, but bear with us. The number again, if you do want to call in, 678-760-1556. If you have any questions, by the way, you can go onto the Facebook page and post them there, and I'll be checking that throughout the evening. Oh my God. I'll be checking that throughout the evening, and if anyone does ask a question, I'll try to answer it here on air. Anyway, we'll see you in a few minutes. Hmm. 8:26. I'm going to drag this out a little bit. Ooh, Uptown Funk. Yeah, that's a good long song. That'll give me a nice break. That's what I'm going to do. Hello? Guys on YouTube? Haven't had a cigarette for 2 days now, Danielle. You'll be happy to know. Not that I was smoking much anyway. It was only 1 or 2 a day, but I just haven't had any for 2 days now. But I am vaping like a motherfucker. All right, what do we got? Give away the things you say. You're unbelievable. Mm. Verify my identity. Pardon me. Damn it, that's not a link. Ah, shit, voting. Of course, if I turn that up, YouTube will tag me with a copyright infringement, so I can't do that because fuck YouTube. Maybe not. YouTube's fine. Danny, what do you want to talk about this evening? And Keith, what do you want to talk about this evening? I really need to figure out how to get people to be able to video call into this Hangout malarkey. Well, I have no idea how to do it. I tested it for myself. Tried sending myself an invite to video call in. The invite didn't show up. Said it was sent. No idea where it was sent to. I guess internet hell somewhere. I don't know. I have time to pour a beer. I'm not sure who that was, but I was off filling a beer, so I apologize. Now, I've been complaining that there's never food on my show. All the other shows get food. The Electric High Radio, they got Chick-fil-A. The ladies on ladies' night have their appetizers and whatnot. Tonight, oh God. Tonight, Scott's insurance agent brought along an entire box of cupcakes. So I'm going to eat a lot of these. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah. Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
what's up?
Oh. Stuff in my face with a cupcake.
Oh, I see that. Very nice.
What's going on, brother?
Not so much. Just, work, eat, sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I heard that. Sleep, work, eat.
Yeah. Same difference.
Yep. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I don't really have a ton. Oh, that's my cousin. I'll just call her back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still learning the Nest. Or it's learning me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, theoretically, it's learning you.
It's really funny, this Huawei watch. Every article I'm reading, people are saying they get 2 days on the battery.
Okay.
I can't get 12 hours.
That's weird.
So I don't know if, I just have a twitchy wrist, and it's I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. But, yeah, it is what it is.
Guinness. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I saw that they're eliminating their fish bladders.
Oh. Can you
But,
believe
but
that?
they only use that for filtration, right? So
It's still going
in-
to taste like shite. All right,
in theory,
we're
they
going-
could filter it.
we're going live real quick. Hold on.
All right.
All right, we're back. I have Keith on the line. Keith, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
Good. Did you see the story I posted today about Guinness?
I did, and I had no idea that they had such a non-vegan beer.
Well, right now they have a tasty human person beer, is what they have, and they're about to have I imagine it's going to be a really shitty subhuman vegan beer. But so and now I imagine anyone that watches the show on YouTube knows that I am partial to a nice pint of Guinness because it's generally what I drink. This evening, obviously, I have this lovely Oktoberfest courtesy of Denise and David, but normally it's Guinness.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's a great thing that they brought you this beer since Guinness is changing, and maybe you've got now a new beer.
Yeah, well, they haven't done it yet, and they're saying they're not going to make this transition until sometime in 2016. But effectively, what's happening is Guinness used dried fish swim bladders as part of the process of making Guinness, and it's used in the filtration. But because it's used in the filtration, a part of the, part of the fish bladder gets into the Guinness, which means it's not a vegan product. So buckling, like the Nancy Irish fairies that they are, they've buckled to the vegan twats, and they're going to remove fish bladders from my Guinness, which means I'm just going to have to get my fish bladders the old-fashioned way, straight out of the damn fish.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody else make beer with fish bladder?
Apparently, according to this story, there are a lot of beers that are made with fish bladders as the process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but a lot of brewers are moving away from it so that they can call themselves vegan.
I mean, why can't they have both? Why can't they have, like, a vegan Guinness?
Why do they need a vegan Guinness? How many vegans are there on the earth? And the second part to that question, how many are there that I give a shit about?
Yeah, but they do. They care about the dollar.
Why should they? The Guinness should be thick and meaty and delicious, and now it's going to be some watery, insipid piss. And I'm not. And to quote this story, you will feel like a pretty French girl while you drink it. Thank you.
I saw that. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, thank you, vegans. I appreciate it.
I didn't at all think that they were at all biased in that story. By the way, they were completely, utterly, 100% impartial.
Yeah, it was really well written. It was very funny. But yeah, I mean, I don't understand why this tiny minority of subhuman non-meat eating idiots get to ruin Guinness for everybody else. Of course,
like I said, just have a vegan Guinness.
Yeah, of course.
Let's see how many of those sell.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm assuming it's going to ruin Guinness because after 234 years, they're changing the recipe. But who knows? Maybe it'll be exactly the same.
Yeah.
I'm still going to bitch about vegans regardless.
Yeah.
Because they're just.
I was very impressed by the Guinness you gave me at tailgate. The one with the little ball in it. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, with the widget, the nitrogen ball.
The widget,
yeah. The Guinness Draft in Cans has for the listeners has a ball of nitrogen in the can that when you pop the top, it releases the nitrogen and it pours theoretically the way it would pour straight out of the tap, and it's delicious. It gets it's thick and meaty and lovely until they remove the fish bladders, and then it's going to be awful. It's going to be like zombie blood or some bollocks. All right, so I'm gonna talk to you about watches for a minute, but there's a company called Nomad that make accessories for the Apple Watch, and they make a number of accessories for other things as well. But they make a thing called the Nomad Pod, which looks like a hockey puck, but you take your Apple Watch charger, put it inside, wrap the cord around it, snap the lid on, and it makes it this puck-shaped charging device. And it has I want to say an 1800 milliamp hour battery in it, and it can charge your watch a couple of times on the go.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're coming out with a new one, the Pod Pro, which will have I believe it's an almost 6,000 milliamp hour battery in it, and they claim it will charge your iPhone 6 and your Apple Watch twice each before it needs recharging. That launches November 15th. You can pre-order for anybody listening that owns an Apple Watch, which is probably just me. You can pre-order for $75 at hellonomad.com, I believe. And then on November 15th, it goes up to its regular price of $99. However, today, they released a new product, which would be brilliant for any guy. This is a wallet. It's a bifold wallet. It holds 6 credit cards and a space for money. Nobody carries cash anymore, but there's a space for it. However, where it folds down the spine is a battery pack. It's it's kind of hidden. You don't really see it. It's very subtle. I think it's a 2400 milliamp hour battery pack, which will charge any phone or any, electronic device, I suppose. It has a USB plug on the bottom, so you just plug your cable into it, plug your phone in, charge on the go. But it's a wallet. It's freaking amazing. I'm going to call this up real quick and throw it up on the screen for people on YouTube to look at. Nomad Pod. And I want you to take a look at this, Keith, and think about whether it's something. Well, Yahoo is terrible. There we go. Yeah, it's hellonomad.com, by the way. Throw this up on the screen and let you look at it and see whether it's anything you would be interested in. Do you carry a wallet, or are you one of these money clip types?
My wallet it doesn't fold. It's got like 3 cards on one side, 3 cards on the other side, and that's it. It's really thin. But I've also got myself down. I only use 1 credit card. I have a backup in case they don't take American Express. So I've really got my credit card, my backup credit card, my bank card, and my driver's license, my medical card, and that's about it in my wallet. So I don't use a big wallet. So
Gotcha.
mine's really kind of small.
Yeah, I use a business card case as my wallet because they're really small, discreet. I can throw a couple of cards in it and good. This thing though, it's again, it's on pre-order. It's $80 on pre-order. It goes up to $100 on November 15th when it ships. But this thing, I mean, it's I think a really clever idea because most guys carry a wallet. Most guys have a cell phone. And this is a very cool way to have a spare battery to charge in an emergency. I think it's fantastic. I may order one of these. It looks like it's well made. It's got an actual iPhone Lightning cable built in. But it also has a USB, I think, micro USB port on the bottom, so you can plug in to your shitty Android phones if you're inclined to carry one of those, which I might be carrying soon if Apple keep declining the way they are, by the way. But yeah, this thing is brilliant. When you see it come up on the screen, let me know because you're on like a 40-second delay.
I know, I'm seeing it. Yeah, it's kind of neat. Do they have a ladies' wallet version? Because I know, like, typically ladies' wallets are even larger.
Yeah, no, they don't. They just have the dude one, and which is neat because why not cater dudes? We need something. We're the tech people anyway. In general, I mean,
I guess, women can just carry a regular charger, battery in a purse. So
exactly. Here's I'm switching over to the Pod Pro so you can see it. It's got the Pod Pro has an integrated lightning cable for charging your iPhone. And then, of course, your Apple Watch just lays on top of it to charge via
So it's
inductive
looking
charging.
like the battery is kind of on the spine of the wallet.
Of the wallet, yes, it is. It's in the spine where it folds, a bifold wallet.
Yeah.
And then the Pod Pro is this hockey puck looking thing, and
Okay.
I think it's pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a neat looking. Obviously, it wouldn't work for me because as I mentioned with the Huawei watch, it has a special pin configuration, which really at night really ticks me off.
Right.
See, it seems like if I come in up to the charger when I'm not tired, I can literally throw the watch close to the charger, and it goes, and I'm charging. But if I come in and I'm really tired and I just want to take the watch off and put it on the charger, it takes 10 minutes of fiddling.
Really?
And it may be only 10 minutes because I'm really tired. It's probably more like about 10 seconds, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, that sucks.
But yeah, it's
so
one of those things.
You were saying that you see a lot of reports online right now about people getting a lot more battery life than you for some reason.
2 days. I don't even get close to that. I'm like a quarter of that.
Any idea why?
I don't know. I'm going to start. It's really tough to research that because, when you research Huawei Watch 2 days, all you get is articles claiming they get 2 days. And so I'm just going to have to, start refining my searches and see if I can figure out if there's something I'm doing. I don't have Wi-Fi turned on. There's not a lot of other settings that I can see that I can change to get better battery life. I've already turned off the muted watch signals or watch faces.
Mm-hmm.
So basically it goes dark when I'm not watching. I did notice when I'm driving, it's because I drive with both hands, so it's constantly turning on, off, on, off, on, off. I don't know if that's doing it. But, because I'm about a half, 3/4 of an hour each way every day.
It shouldn't be that. Mine does that all day long. And since I've updated to the latest OS, I take it off the charger at 4:30, and at 4:00 at night, 12 hours later, I still have 70% battery left. So
yeah, see, and I don't. I looked at my watch just before the show, and today's a decent day, but I've only got 44%.
Right. Well,
and I started off at about 6.
You know what you could do? You could always just switch to the iPhone and the Apple Watch. Apparently, according to this story, a record number of Android users are switching to the iPhone. Of the all iPhone sales last quarter, so 48 million sales, Apple said that 30% of those were people coming from Android and switching to the iPhone. So you could always do that.
Could. They actually gave us at work a on-call phone to carry.
Uh-huh.
And it's an iPhone.
Oh, you have an iPhone.
And so I actually, for this week, only once every 5 weeks, because there's 5 of us in the rotation.
Yeah.
So once every 5 weeks, I'll have an iPhone. And it was very interesting to, because I had the iPad, but to have the cellular and all that along with it,
mm-hmm.
There's things I like, things I don't like. I love the fact that it can do a fingerprint scan and a PIN.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I like that is my work provides us with the ability to put our work email on our personal phone if we choose.
Right.
But they force you by policy to have a PIN.
Yes.
And I understand they don't want, anybody who happens to come across my phone to be able to see work email.
Right.
Even though, there's literally nothing that I know that anybody would be interested in. But yeah. I understand it from a security standpoint. But the Android lets me do a PIN or a thumbprint scan.
Oh,
And
so your phone does have a fingerprint scanner.
It does, but it's an or. You can do
It's
one or the other.
one or the other, not both.
Yeah, and the way the policy is from work, they say you have to have a PIN. I don't know if they can set it so that you can have a PIN or a thumbprint, or if they've chosen, maybe they think, hey, if the guy, somebody cuts off his thumb, they could get into the email. I don't think they.
Yeah, I mean the iPhone requires both.
Got that far.
Yeah, in order to set up Touch ID, you have to enable a PIN code first of all. And with iOS 9, it's now a 6-digit PIN code. So yours is a managed device. It has an exchange policy profile. Were you able to add your fingerprints to Touch ID?
Yeah, so what we did was because it allows, I don't know if it's 4 or 5 fingerprints. So Chris took one and I took one, and if the other guys want to take one, they can apply their own fingerprints.
Yeah, it lets you add 10, by the way. Touch ID allows 10 fingerprints. Yeah, so the 5 guys could actually have 2 each, I suppose. Now, speaking of that, Apple Pay, you can use Touch ID to authenticate Apple Pay, which is Apple's mobile payment system. Now, the banks this week came out and said if you have more than one person's fingerprint set up in Touch ID, they will not guarantee your security, and they will not honor any claims. So bear that in mind, people out there. If you use Apple Pay and you have more than one person's fingerprints, say you have kids, these awful little shit monsters that mess up your phone with their grubby little nasty hands, if they have a thumbprint in your phone, you are no longer protected using Apple Pay, courtesy of your bank. Thank them. We're coming up on a break here, Keith. Before we get to break, I just want to remind everybody today, if you live in the 43rd Senate District of Georgia, was a special election. The current senator was stepping down. Good riddance. And we are hopefully electing Janice Van Ness to the 43rd today. The polls closed at 7. They're currently counting. And hopefully, if they get a count before 9:30, Janice will send me a message and let me know whether she is our new representative here or not. I really hope everybody went out who was eligible to vote, went out and voted today. The Democrat field was so split that it was a perfect chance to elect a Republican. If every registered Republican went out and voted today, we have a Republican senator. So anyway, good luck, Janice. I hope to hear from you shortly. There shouldn't be that many votes to count. Hopefully, I think it was a pretty slow day. Anyway, we have a break here. We'll be back in a few minutes and continue talking to Keith. You feel free to call in also, 678-760-1556. This is Tech Talk. I'm Alex, and we'll see you again in a minute. Okay, they can listen to a commercial for a while. Hold on. Hey, are you listening to the show? Damn it. It's been a doozy. Did you hear my Halloween rant? You got to watch that tomorrow. I'll watch it later. Okay. Sorry, Keith.
No problem.
So, yeah, hopefully Janice is hopefully going to send me a message on Facebook whether she won or not.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't think enough people there. It was supposedly the polls were very slow today. A lot of people voted early. Obviously, voting's been open for 2 weeks.
Okay.
But and Janice was one of our county commissioners who unfortunately got ousted when Acorn came into the city. I'm on YouTube. Actually, I'm not going to take that back. When Acorn came into the city and pumped a bunch of money into races here, Janice got ousted. Now she's running for the 43rd. So I'm really hoping she wins. She was on the show. What was it, Friday, Scott? She was in on the show Friday, and she's going to come in on my show and talk about how social media has changed the way candidates campaign, in the 21st century, which I think will be really interesting.
Huge.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I follow Ben Carson just because I think he's a smart guy, and he posts something every night, several paragraphs, where he talks about questions that people have asked him, or something that's important to people that he wants to respond to. And
yeah, I mean, it's huge. Every single, we'll talk about the presidential race because that's going on right now. Every single candidate has a huge, now of course these guys have professionals running their social media for them, but Donald Trump, for example, I've been following Donald. Now I'm not a fan of Donald Trump as a politician. I think he's great as a businessman, but I've been following him on Twitter now for 3 or 4 years, and he's hilarious. He knows how to use it. Hold on a second, Keith.
Yeah.
Yes. Really? So ET is talking to boycotting.
No, ET said Saturday Night Live, all these people now talk about boycott him being on the show. So he has a meeting with the executive producer of Saturday Night Live tomorrow.
Yeah, see, and they're all terrified of him. And I don't know why, because again, here's my opinion of Donald Trump, and I wish we were on the air right now. Well, I'll say it. Yeah, I'll say it on the air again. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna coming back on air, and I'm gonna interrupt this because we're having a good conversation here on YouTube. And I was telling Keith that Janice has agreed to come on the show and talk about how social media has changed the way that candidates campaign in the 21st century. And I was talking about Donald Trump, and I'm not, anyone that listens knows I'm not a fan of Donald Trump as a candidate, but I like Donald Trump, the businessman, and I've been following him on Twitter now for probably 3 or 4 years, and he's great at it.
I mean, you can't argue the fact that the man is a brilliant businessman.
He is. I mean, and the media pick on him, and they don't pick on him. They try to catch him in a gotcha, and they say, "Well, you filed bankruptcy, and how does that qualify you to run the nation?" And he answers it so perfectly. I take advantage of the laws the nation offers. It's the perfect response. He does what anybody else would do.
Exactly.
But social media has changed everything. I mean, you say you follow Ben Carson, and he's active on social media. I love Marco Rubio and his Facebook every day. Now, again, of course, they have professional social media experts running these accounts for them. But every day on Facebook, Marco's account is remarkably active, replaying all the interviews he's done, any link into any news stories that he's mentioned in. It's great the way it works. It reaches such a wide demographic of people.
And it gives them the opportunity to respond to the day's news stories. So when some news agency says, "Oh my God, Donald Trump said blah blah blah,"
mm-hmm.
he can respond, or Ben Carson made this comment about this situation. They can respond and say, "You know what? It was taken out of context. Here's what the context was. Here's what I said. Here's why I said it." And it gives them a forum in which they can respond. Now, it's up to the reader to choose whether they believe that or they believe it's typical political rhetoric. I do think in the case of both Trump and Carson that, they're in it from a non-political standpoint.
Well, and this is the reason I cut back in and cut off the music here, because I wanted to say, here's my problem with Donald Trump. Well, not my problem with him. My problem with him, he's a bit of a jackass when it comes to being a politician. And a fantastic, great, but a genius genius businessman, but a jackass as a as a statesman. Let's put it that way. However, I don't believe that Donald Trump's ego will allow him to go in front of voters. I don't believe. I honestly believe the man, even if he's ahead, I think he will pull out of the race prior to the primary because his ego won't allow him to get beaten down by voters.
I mean, how's he going to handle the pay cut?
That's right. That's right. I remember, speaking of it, you're
going to live on $500,000 a year?
Yeah,
what the hell?
yeah, that's right. You'll appreciate this. And completely unrelated. This is just a wild tangent. Do you remember when Juan Pablo left Formula One and went to NASCAR?
Yeah.
And I was watching an interview, and one of the NASCAR, I don't know who these people are, but one of the NASCAR commentators said, well, how are you going to, he said the exact same thing. How are you going to handle the pay cut? Yeah. It's fantastic. Little did they know. Well, I mean, I don't know how Juan Pablo does in NASCAR anymore, but those guys make a fair bit of
IRL now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's at IndyCar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shows you how far out I am. How's he doing in Indy? Good.
Yeah, he's done really well. He won the Indy 500.
That's what I figured. He's an open wheel racer. But yeah, how are you going to handle the pay cut? Because those Formula One boys, they make a lot of money.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah.
NASCAR can't even come close to what they make.
Yeah, no, you can't touch it. But yeah, I don't think Trump is. I don't think he'll stay in the race even for the primary. I don't believe his ego will allow him. I mean, we see how he reacts to criticism. It's not well. Yeah. Anyway, may as well just keep going. May as well just talk. No, actually, I'm going to go back to music. Guys, we will resume normal programming. We'll be back in a minute.
Unless we come up with another odd topic that we feel we need to break into.
That's right. Okay, so there's this song and then one other, and then we'll come back at 8:03. What have I got here? Oh, and if you ever just did decide now after you've used your iPhone for a week or two, you're going to say, man, this is fucking amazing. And the good news,
no, I won't.
Yeah.
First off, I won't because it's an on-call phone. So if it rings, it's a bad thing.
All right. Well, you will after a week or so. You're going to say, man, this is fucking amazing. And the good news is Apple just started testing bundle sales. So they're bundling an iPhone with an Apple Watch, and they're giving a discount off of the package bundle. They're testing it in select locations at the moment, I guess, to see how it goes.
Yeah.
So if you do decide to switch, then you can get a little bundle and a discount.
No, that's never going to happen. The more I mess with the iPhone, the more I think I like the openness of the. Like I can have a Google Play account and not have to give it a damn credit card.
Yeah.
Like now I have to go down to IT and say, hey, can you install speed test so I can test my network while I'm on my iPhone? Because, they want a credit card just to get onto the Apple Store.
Well, no, that's not true. You don't need a credit card. You can set it up. You can, when it gets to the point where it asks for your credit card number, you can say skip this step, and it will let you. Yeah, it lets you do it without a card number.
All right, I'll try that tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people, and you're not.
Don't like that.
I hear this from people all the time because obviously Apple wants to get your credit card number, so they don't make it obvious. But yeah, if you say skip this step, it lets you set up your account without registering a card number. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah. I just had to because obviously I got hit by bank fraud again. So I finally got my new card in the mail, and so I had to update all my accounts today, and I was pleasantly surprised about that in the on the iPhone. I just went to account management, found the payments thing, updated that. It was seamless, and it updated everything. It updated my iTunes Match renewal. It updated my Apple Music subscription, updated the App Store and the iCloud billing all in one fell swoop.
Now, have you thought of going to like an American Express just to eliminate? I mean, you've had this recurring credit card theft problem several times, so.
Yeah. Honestly, I haven't considered American Express. I don't have a credit card. I don't have a single one. I probably should just for things like this. I pay mine off every month. I never ever carry over a balance. Right.
I don't spend more than I can pay, but I like it for the convenience. I can.
Oh, dude!
I can just like hell.
I just caught what's playing on the radio. It's status quo, rocking all over the world.
Okay.
Oh, I love this song. Those guys are rocking out right now on the radio. All right. Well, no, sorry. Never mind. Yeah, no, I probably should. And American
Express. For a CMA award next week, tomorrow?
Do what now?
Is that band up for a CMA award tomorrow?
No, they're from the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
They're a British rock and roll band. And I'm going to mention this as soon as we go back on air, which will be in 44 seconds. One of the best rock and roll bands, in my opinion, ever in history. And anyone that disagrees can suck my chode.
Well then.
Yeah. Oh God. I want to talk about the FBI switching back to 9mm ammo. We're going to do a bit of guns and gadgets.
Oh, little gun retro.
Yeah. 15 seconds. Here we go. All right, we're back. I still have Keith on the phone. Sorry about that, interrupting your music, but I had to jump in with that.
We got excited.
Yeah, Donald Trump's ego. I got to talk about that. You were listening, by the way. That last song you were listening to was Status Quo, one of the best rock bands, in my opinion, in history. British rock and roll band. Fantastic stuff. That was rocking all over the world. And anyone that disagrees is just wrong. So there you go. So Keith, guns and gadgets. What the hell, right? These used to be guns and gadgets, and now it's tech talk. But I have a story here. I'm a 9mm guy. I was using 40. I switched back to 9mm about a year and a half ago. Turns out I'm not the only one. The FBI just announced that they are switching back to the 9mm round from 40 caliber. Now, I'll go over the history of this. Back in 1986, I think there was a shootout in Miami, and the FBI, it was a shootout with FBI agents who were remarkably outgunned. They were using 9mm ammo at the time, and they decided they wanted a hotter round. So the ammo manufacturers developed 10mm. The FBI used it for a year or two, one or 2 years, and then they realized that 10 was far too hot. So Smith & Wesson developed the 40 caliber, the Smith & Wesson, the 40 short and weak, as they call it. And the FBI adopted that in the late 80s and used it up until now, 40 Smith. Well, now they have been testing modern 9mm ammunition, and they are switching everybody to the Speer Gold Dot. I want to say, let me see, which grain. They're switching to the 147 grain Speer Gold Dot G2. They haven't said which handgun they're going to be switching to yet. I imagine it's going to be a SIG. I don't know. They haven't said. Now,
historically, it's been.
Yeah, well, they were SIG, then they were Glock. I mean, who was? I don't want to. I'm not going to say names just in case. But we have a friend who was dating an FBI agent, and we were at a Gladiators game, and I saw his gun. You recall? And I said,
Mhm.
"Oh, why aren't you carrying a SIG?" And he said, "Oh, we switched from SIGs years ago." When was that? That was a year or two ago, right?
That was about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah. So he and that was a surprise to me that the FBI was issuing Glocks. He was carrying a Glock 23. Um, but now, going to the 9mm, I think is a great move. They say modern 9mm is just as good, if not better, than the 40 caliber equivalents.
Well, isn't it more about the grains behind the projectile than the actual projectile itself?
It's the weight of the bullet and the velocity of the projectile. So
I mean, I realize a 45 is going to like blow a bigger hole in a person, but I mean, people like the FBI or law enforcement in general are worried about bullets bouncing off windshields and that sort of thing.
yeah,
And I'm thinking the hotter the round is, the less likely it's going to bounce off a windshield.
yeah. Well, I'm going to assume that currently they use Speer gold dots in 40 caliber, which would be it's either a 165 or a 180 grain in 40 caliber, which are probably flying at a maximum of 1,100 feet per second. So they're dropping down in weight to a 147 grain 9mm, but they're going to be up in the velocity. They're going to be up in the velocity to probably between 12 and 1,300 feet per second. So for barrier penetration, it's going to be fantastic. That high velocity punch is going to be brilliant. And the FBI, when they test ammo, they test for everything, shooting through windshields, through walls, through any kind of barrier you can think of. So they know what they're doing, which is why so many people look to what the FBI carry and carry the exact same thing, because they know it's been tested and proven. And they know that the FBI have stringent requirements for penetration of a round, and they're saying they're getting consistent 12 to 18 inches of penetration with the 147 grade.
Yeah.
However, they have not said what kind of gun they're switching to, and I don't know if it'll be a Glock. I don't know. I'm going to talk about the military's bid.
It seems like all of law enforcement are switching to Glocks.
Yeah. Now, again, with the feds, I'm going to compare it to the U.S. Army or the military's bid for a new gun right now. They're bidding for a new 9mm, but they have certain requirements. It has to be modular, and I believe it has to have an external safety. So that really limits their choices, right? The SIG,
yes. Yes.
I think the SIG P320 is on the table, which is a great gun, and you can take out the guts, swap it into different size frames. It's fantastic. I don't know. I haven't read the FBI's bid contract, so I don't know what they're looking for. But if they currently use Glocks, I would imagine they're going to stick with Glock and go with the Glock 17 and the Glock 19. I don't know. We'll see.
I think I'm the only person in the world that can actually. I took a Glock to the gun range and got it jammed.
You're not the only. No, you're not the only person. They're not. They're not infallible. A lot of people get stovepipes because they. I'm not saying you limp wrist your gun, but a lot of people get stovepipes because they're limp wristing the gun. And sometimes a Glock just doesn't fucking function. It happens.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm supposed to be going shooting with Scott tomorrow. I'll teach him how to.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll see what he's made of. So yeah,
funny.
bit.
I was the Ontario, at least probably 10 years ago or 8 years ago. The Ontario police used a SIG They had the P220, was the 40 cal or the 229, one or the other. And so I was up there, and we happened to be just like sort of standing around talking, and there was a female officer there. And I looked over and I saw, that she had a SIG, and I said, "Oh, is that oh, it's a 226." I said, "Is that the 226?" And she goes, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, the 40 cal." And she's like, "Yes." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I've got the 228, the 9mm."
Mm-hmm.
And she just kind of looked at me.
Well, that's because you're a poncy little dick.
No, all of a sudden I realized I was in Canada.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought you were bragging for having the 226. The 228, sorry. Yeah. I thought you were bragging for having the 228 because right now that is one of the most desirable, hardest to find SIGs on the market.
I've been offered money for it at the gun range.
Yeah, I want that gun.
You want it just because everybody else wants it.
Well, and then you're just fucking wandering off around the globe telling people, got a SIG 228, got a SIG 228. Fuck you, Keith. No. Yeah, no, it's anybody that watched the X-Files knows what the 228 is. It was one of the guns that Scully and Mulder carried. A compact, I should say, 9mm, the same as the 226, but smaller, and a fantastic gun, which SIG discontinued. I don't know why they discontinued it. I guess just to make pricks like you rich.
Apparently, although you know,
and you still haven't offered to sell me that damn gun.
I'm not thinking that selling one gun is going to make me rich, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a pretty gun. So who's your cell phone carrier?
I have Sprint.
All right, well, this ain't gonna affect you then. T-Mobile, the uncarrier, which I think is great, by the way. John Legere is the outspoken CEO of T-Mobile, and they do these uncarrier events. And in the past, it has been right now, Uncarrier 7 introduced free music streaming. So if you have a capped data plan, you can stream music and it doesn't count against your data, right? They also have free international calling, free international roaming. I can go to England and make phone calls and use data for free. Just my monthly service fee. Anyway, Uncarrier 10, Uncarrier X, is taking place on November 10th. And the rumor is that T-Mobile are going to make video streaming free. That, in other words, if you have a limited data plan, you can go watch Netflix and Hulu, and it won't count against your data. Free video streaming. What do you think about that? Isn't that amazing?
I like it.
It's fucking amazing.
Well,
so that means
it is. I mean, it would be a great thing for a person to get their kid.
So here's what this means. It means I could really game the system. I could fly to England. I could stream music, make phone calls, text messages, and watch Netflix for free. And anybody on Verizon knows what that costs. You've seen the horror stories about people with, multiple thousands of dollars of cell phone bills when they've been overseas, right?
Oh, I was up in Canada, and one day I turned on my cell because I'm very wary of the charges because Canada is very expensive when it comes to wireless.
Right.
And I turned on my phone, and by some reason, it automatically had data enabled when I turned it on, which I had turned off prior to turning it off. And it topped my email, and I got a $70 bill for what couldn't have been more than 15 seconds of being online.
Yeah, isn't it ridiculous? Well, with T-Mobile, you don't have to worry about that. All of North America and South America are covered, and I believe now that I think all of Europe is covered as well. Parts of Asia and parts of Africa. So good on you, T-Mobile. Thank you, John Legere. I like him. He's a very mouthy, outspoken, cussy kind of CEO, and he loves to say fuck AT&T. So yeah, gotta like him. But that's November 10th. So anyway, that's just a rumor right now. We'll know for sure on November 10th. Also, talking about T-Mobile. Well, actually, let's go back to traveling, and I've got a little tip for people that travel. If you're on an iPhone and you are with, I know T-Mobile and AT&T will do this. I'm not sure about the other carriers. And I'm sure most Android phones do this as well, but Wi-Fi calling. I'm guessing your phone does Wi-Fi calling by default.
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't looked into it.
Okay. Well, on the iPhone, let me find the setting real quick. If you go into settings and cellular, nope, not cellular. If you go into settings and
I know that my previous phone with T-Mobile did have Wi-Fi calling because I would use that a lot in Canada.
Yeah, next T-Mobile.
I travel.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I travel up there and turn off data. Like, actually, I would stop at the duty free at the border because that's where you buy your booze when you're going across.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, so it was kind of a ritual. I would, buy whatever booze I was taking across and then turn off my data and turn on Wi-Fi calling. And it worked really well. I was at my aunt's place and I could get, phone calls and everything was cool.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I use it. There is a downside to it, which I'll talk about in a second, but I'm trying to find the setting where people can enable this. But what it lets you do is send your phone calls and text messages. It redirects them over Wi-Fi so that it doesn't use your data. So if you are traveling, you're on Wi-Fi. If you go to settings, phone, Wi-Fi calling, you can enable it if your carrier supports it. And then when you know it's working, up in the title bar on the iPhone, it'll say Wi-Fi next to your signal bar. And then you know that all of your data is going over Wi-Fi, including phone calls and text messages, which will save you money when you're out of the country or when you're roaming. Now, the drawback to this on the iPhone is that it disables handoff. And handoff is it's integration with other devices. So if you're browsing if you're looking at a website on the iPhone, handoff will broadcast that to the iPad and you can pick up where you left off on the iPad. But I never used that. I had it enabled, never used it, turned on Wi-Fi calling instead, and I've been happy with that. And it also gives you HD calling over Wi-Fi, so your phone calls sound crystal clear.
Well, and the good thing about it too, even if you're not traveling, would be, let's say you spend a lot of time, like at work I have Wi-Fi, at home I have Wi-Fi, and I only travel a half hour each way to work. If you could turn on Wi-Fi calling, and if you did a lot of calling when you're at home or at work and you use the Wi-Fi, it would really cut down on your data, and maybe you could go to a lower data plan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it really does. And with T-Mobile, again, if the free music streaming, free video streaming, if it happens, Wi-Fi calling, text messages over Wi-Fi, yeah, it's getting to the point where you could get by with 2 gigs of data easily. Now, another thing they're doing, if for some reason you don't want to use Wi-Fi calling, T-Mobile are now giving away for free a it's like a mini cell tower. It's like AT&T's what are they? Microcells, I think AT&T called them.
I remember that.
Yeah. So they're giving these things away for free now, and it basically creates an LTE cell tower in your home, which covers 3,000 square feet of area. So if you get terrible signal in your house, but you have to have good signal outside, right? Because
Yeah.
you have to put this box where it gets a relatively decent signal, then it boosts it and sends it through the rest of your house. So if you have good service, say on the north side of your house, you would put this box in that window. It would broadcast it to the rest of the house, and then you would get 3G, 4G, or LTE service through the rest of the house. And
yeah, obviously that's for people with houses bigger than yours or mine.
yeah, so they're giving these things away for free. If you have Wi-Fi, there's no need for this because Wi-Fi does the same thing better and cheaper because there is a $25 deposit for this box. So Wi-Fi, it's free. Well, it's not free. You pay your monthly cable or DSL bill, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's just an option. People that don't have Wi-Fi coverage can use this cell. Well, they're calling an LTE cell spot, and they'll send you one for free. So give them a call if you need to. Keith, we have a break here coming up.
All right, I'm going to hang up, and hopefully someone else will call in.
All right. Well, it was good talking to you. Thank you very much
You
for
as well.
calling in. And I think after the break, when we come back, Danielle will probably be on the phone. And so
it'll be good to hear her voice because and tell her Larry said hi.
I will tell her Larry, whoever Larry is, said hi.
She'll know.
Okay, I will do. Keith, thanks for calling in, brother.
All right, bye.
Guys, this is Tech Talk, 678-760-1556. I'm Alex, or, Xander Mac, whatever you prefer. And I will be back after these messages and a couple of songs. I'm going to pour a beer and I will answer the phone when I get back. I've just realized I dictated that message and you're listening to me on YouTube. I host a show called Tech Talk and didn't think about that. That can't be good. Yeah, this guy hosts a show called Tech Talk and forgot that you're listening to me, and I didn't have to actually send you that message. Fucking genius. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. So
I
yeah,
didn't
that
know if
was
you were back.
so that was clever, huh? Dictation.
That was awesome. That was absolutely awesome.
I should be
Well, and
I should be
I read-
fired immediately.
or at least like suspended without pay for a day or something from
That's
your
right.
free radio show.
That's
yeah.
right.
Well, I got the text and then I saw you heard you dictate it, and I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. And it didn't even occur to me then that you could have just spoken. Yeah, we're idiots. We are
Oh
idiots.
God, we're as bad as each other.
Yeah, we are morons. So anyway,
That's amazing.
we got.
So what are we going to talk about? We got a couple of songs to think about it. I got a whole list of stuff here, but here's one that will interest, well, not you, but Kurt.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Xbox One fall update. Oh no, he uses a PS4.
He does use a PS4.
Okay, well, fuck you. It won't interest either of you.
I don't know.
I'm still going to talk about it, but it won't interest either one of you.
Yeah, I refer to anything he plays on as the Nintendo 64 because it's clear that I know that that's wrong.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I just never try to be right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I would do just to annoy people.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely.
This is one of the things I was really excited about the new Apple TV was gaming, because any game, you know, all the games that I have on my iPad, theoretically, I can download to my Apple TV and I can use my Bluetooth controller, and now it will be a full game console. But I'm not going to buy it until they fix the issues.
Right.
If they don't fix these, you know, pre-release bugs or what I consider bugs, I'm not interested.
Right.
Apple are going to shit, man. I may be joining you guys on the dark side.
Well, you know that, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. That used to sort of be our mantra, was that we would never, well, we always said that we were not going to buy the first release of any new like phone handset.
I know.
You know, I mean, and then of course we would, but we always knew that we shouldn't.
Right.
And then we would, and it would suck.
Right.
But we would end up like having to do a day and a half.
Yeah, but it's not the first release. It's Apple TV version 4.
But it's so different, though, don't you think? Like
it is.
So
yeah, it is remarkably different. So yeah, I mean, effectively, it is a first release.
And that's what Kurt was saying when he was listening to your rant about it. He's like, why the fuck didn't they even just change the name? Like, why did they even call it Apple TV? Because it's so different.
Yeah, it is.
From the actual Apple TV.
Yeah,
like,
it is. It is. And he's right. He's right. And this is, this is one of the areas I think Apple is failing. Their quality control, their quality assurance, it's taken a dive. So, and they're rushing, they're putting these devices out. And, you know, the funny thing is Apple TV has been a beta product since it was released. You know, it was always listed as in beta. Now it's no longer in beta, and it's a piece of shit. Well, I shouldn't say it's a piece of shit, but it's so different and so buggy and so counterintuitive that it should say remarkably in beta.
It's like alpha now. It's like gone backwards from the beta.
Yeah, you're right.
Like
it should be
alpha.
Alpha. Oh well. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll buy one, but I'm at least going to wait until the remote app has to be updated before I buy one.
Right.
I'm going to check the App Store real quick, because if it's updated, I'm swinging by Best Buy on the way home. No, it's not updated, so I'm safe. The bank account's safe.
Oh, Lord.
No, I mean, as soon as they update the app, I think I'll be okay with it, because I won't have to faff around. But I mean, to release it with fewer features than the last 3 versions that were beta products is unacceptable. And I blame Tim Cook. And you know, I, I'm on. I'm not live on the radio, so no one on the radio is going to hear this. But I am going to say it on YouTube, and I'm going to sound like a complete dick. But I am. I'm going to sound like a prick, and I don't mean to. Forewarning, I don't mean to be a prick when I say this, but I wonder if it's the mentality at Apple. So Tim Cook is openly gay. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if these engineers, these engineers and software pro developers and people, they're alpha type personalities. And I wonder if they just don't take Tim Cook seriously because of who he is, because he's he's a gentleman. He really is the epitome of a gentleman. He's kind, he's soft spoken, he's a really nice bloke. I wonder if he doesn't need to be a bitchy fucking queen and just whip these assholes into shape.
Right.
I mean, no, and again, I mean, no offense to anybody. I personally love Tim Cook. I think he's a great guy. I think he's being undermined, and it's the kind of thing that Steve Jobs would not have tolerated.
Right.
Heads would have rolled under Steve. And I know Tim Cook isn't Steve Jobs. They're two completely different personalities. But if Tim's not going to crack the whip, he needs to hire somebody who is going to crack the whip, and somebody who's going to demand the excellence Apple were known for rather than the mediocrity they're now shipping on a daily basis. It's really starting to annoy me.
Yeah.
Anyway, rant over.
Rant part 2 over.
Yeah, rant part 2 over.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Our intro music just kicked in.
Alrighty.
All right, this is Tech Talk. Something just happened with my queue here. I don't really know what. Fuck it, we're on the air. It's good enough. 678-760-1556. If you call in now, though, you're going to get a busy signal because Danielle's on the line. Hi, Dan.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi. I am good. How are you?
I'm all right. Bitching about Apple Juice.
No, you know what? No. I take that back. I'm a little disappointed that we can't video chat because I just got my hair did. And you were missing
you would have looked
hair
great. Yeah, you would have looked great. Shit.
Yeah.
And I can't figure out how to get people to video in.
Yeah, shagadelic.
And I will say again, I've got to say this again. I host a show called Tech Talk. Can't figure this tech out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we got to get on this.
Yeah.
We got to get a tech guy.
We need a tech guy. Damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, something funny happened during the break. I'm on YouTube, and YouTube is live even through the commercial breaks and the music. So I'm sat here, I'm on my iPhone, I'm dictating a message to Danielle to send it to her while she's watching on YouTube without thinking, I could just say this into the mic and she'll hear it. I really should be fired.
That did happen. And I got the message on the text. And then probably 40 seconds later, I heard you say it.
Heard me dictate it.
My internet is so slow. Yeah. So I read it and then heard you dictate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
good.
Probably the dumbest thing I've ever done.
No, dude, I've seen you do dumber stuff. I've seen you do dumber stuff.
I really have done way dumber stuff.
Yeah. So we're all good.
What were we talking about during the break? I thought this would interest you, but it's not going to interest you. I thought it would interest Kurt, but it's not going to interest Kurt because he's a PS4 guy. Xbox One, they have an update coming out. It's what they're calling their fall, autumn. I'll say autumn because if I say fall, no one's going to know what I'm saying because of my accent. It's their autumn update. Yeah. And supposedly this is a big deal. I don't know if it's a big deal because when I actually read the story, it seemed a little disappointing. But anyway, here we go. The full update brings an entirely new look to the console's interface and promises a faster, streamlined social experience so you and your friends can spend less time rooting around menus and more time racing laps or chucking plasma grenades at each other. Don't really know what the big deal about that is. Here's the big deal to me. They're switching to Windows 10. So yeah, now Microsoft are on this kick to get every single device they have running Windows 10, their mobile devices, the PCs, and apparently now the Xbox. So it's going to be a brand new update running Windows 10. I'm assuming that opens the door for some kind of cool routing to go on and set this thing up. I mean, if it's running Windows 10, the potential is, it's out of this world. You could do whatever you want with this box. Now this is a big deal. It will provide backwards compatibility for Xbox 360 games. That's pretty. Yeah, that's you have to admit that's when I bought my PS2, I was too late to get it, but the early PS2s had an additional processor on the board that allowed them to play PS1 games, and I missed out on that. And then they actually removed it from the PS2 a couple of years later. So I bought mine. I missed out on backwards compatibility, but apparently this update will add backward compatibility for all Xbox One consoles to play Xbox 360 games. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's big.
You don't care.
No, I don't care, but I recognize that is big. And you know what? That actually, let me close my door so I don't get Kurt riled up when he hears me tell this story. That actually, clicked the brain cell. Remember I told you that Kurt's PlayStation whatever account had been hacked?
Yes.
What he was so what happened was something happened that caused him to have to call Sony because he couldn't get his thing to do what it was supposed to be doing. And they said, well, that's because you've recently deactivated your console and made a different console your primary console, and you can only do that once every 6 months. And Kurt's like, I don't even know what you're saying. I didn't do that. And they said, well, it's been done. So Kurt did not have control of his account, which is literally, and I'm almost embarrassed to say this, thousands of hours worth of gameplay and levels and whatever, like all of his characters and stuff. What he was doing was upgrading the memory in his PS4. So he was going to terabyte or something of memory. And so that's what he was doing and that was something you said reminded me, because I couldn't remember what he was doing that caused him to be jacking around with his thingy.
Right. I have to correct something I said earlier. It was my PS3 that was not backwards compatible, not my PS2. My PS3 was a later generation PS3, which did not include the PS2 chip. Sorry, just had to correct that. But
that does, I do recognize it doesn't matter to me, I don't give a shit. But I recognize that that's a big deal when you get a game console that can't play the games from other consoles. Because,
it's a convenience issue. I mean, you can always keep the older console and keep it plugged in and do it that way.
If you have it.
Well, yeah, if you have it. But it's so much more convenient just to have that backwards compatibility.
Right.
Anyway.
Anyway.
I've actually.
So apparently this account hacking thing is kind of a big deal. Like when it happened to Kurt, it wasn't such a big deal because he happened to figure it out before anybody bought anything and stole any money from him.
Okay.
But apparently people have had it happen to them, and the bad guys gain control of their account, buy stuff, and Sony will only like reimburse them up to, I think it's $250 or something, or $150.
Well,
And
I mean,
anything beyond that,
then
there's
you obviously have to make sure you use a credit card that provides the protection you need.
right. But then I think, and this is just articles that I have read when Kurt was going through it, because he was frustrated and wasn't doing any research. And of course, that's my thing. Is I just
I'd be
research it
fucking
online.
pissed. I'd be pissed. I'd be calling
but see,
Sony and
here's the
chewing their
thing.
asses out.
For him, he just wanted to get back on his thing and be able to play.
Right.
Like that was
Right.
for him. For me, it was the principle of the thing. Like, fuck y'all. How are we gonna, how are you gonna make this okay? And he's like, as long as I can play my Elder Scrolls and I'm the big guy with the axe and the swinging dong, whatever. He didn't care. But so if you go the additional step and get the credit cards or whomever involved, you can get your money back, but then it deactivates your account and you can't do it anymore.
Oh, does
So
it
I guess-
really?
Yeah. So then I guess like your Nintendo 64 or whatever that you're playing on, or that, heaven forbid, if it's parents and their kids, have become attached to this shit and have these communities with their friends where they play this stupid shit online, they can't do it anymore if they go that extra step, and get their money back.
Yeah.
Which
I'll
to
tell
me
you
is
what Sony
horse
need to
shit.
do. I'll tell you what they need to do, and I believe Kurt said this to you. They need to enable two-factor authentication.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, is
Yeah.
YouTube still working on your end?
It is. I'm about 40 seconds back and I've got it muted. Do you want me to turn it up and see if I can hear you?
No, it's fine.
Your mouth, you're moving.
Yeah, Keith
So yeah, it's working.
said it. Keith said it died, but I think that's probably his Android tablet.
Oh, you know what? This might be way back.
Actually, he has an
I don't know if they're
iPad.
working or not.
He honestly has an iPad, so it's probably the iPad messed up. Anyway, yeah, two-factor authentication. Everybody should have that. And for anybody listening that doesn't know what that is, it's something you know and something you have. So, for example, the something you know would be your password, and the something you have could be your cell phone. And for services that support two-factor authentication, they will require you to log in with your password. Then they will also send a code to your cell phone, which you have to type in also, which verifies that you are you know
Right.
something you know and something you have. I use two-factor on everything that supports it. And you know what? Sony should support two-factor authentication. So I would suggest anybody that has a Sony PlayStation Live account or whatever it's called, I would suggest you send an email to Sony, get off your lazy asses, send an email and demand two-factor authentication, because if your account gets hacked, you will be screwed.
Yeah.
I've actually been
So-
thinking about getting an Xbox One just because I want to play Forza, the new Forza 6, which it's a great looking game. It's amazing, and I love my racing games. I really do. Now I'm a PlayStation guy and I'm a Gran Turismo player, and I love Gran Turismo, but Forza looks so good, or Forza as it is
Yeah.
called. But yeah, again, something else Danielle doesn't give a shit about right there. And I don't blame her.
Yeah.
So, do you ever watch YouTube? Well, obviously you do. You're watching now.
Yeah.
YouTube just launched their subscription service. It's called YouTube Red. It's $10 a month, and it allows you to watch anything on YouTube ad-free. Is there even a market for this? Yeah, I watch YouTube all the time. I would say, I'm going to say 30 to 40% of everything I watch online is YouTube, and the ads are so short that they've never really bothered me. But now they have a $10 a month subscription that lets you watch ad free. Now it also Yeah, for me, now, obviously for me, the ads don't bother me. From what I understand, YouTube is becoming one of the go-to places for music. If if kids want to listen to music, apparently now they're going to YouTube instead of Spotify or something like that. So I guess I can see it from that perspective. Would you ever pay $10 a month to watch YouTube?
Not the way I use it now, no.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine. Like maybe, and this is even a stretch, like when I was teaching, if I wanted to use it, use multiple videos for instruction and didn't want the risk of God only knows what ad coming up in between.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
then maybe, but only if I did it all the time.
I think you're pretty safe on YouTube, though. I've never seen a risque or.
Well, no, but listen, hey, when you're teaching 12-year-old boys, anything is risque.
Possibly.
I'm not even talking about.
I'll tell you who is bad for that. By the way, is Hulu. I've been watching Hulu, and let's say it's 4:00 in the afternoon, and I'm watching a rerun of The New Girl, and they start playing a commercial for the latest Poltergeist movie or something like that. And I'm thinking, if kids are watching at 4:00 at night and this commercial comes on, some people might complain about that. I don't give a shit. Scare the little fuckers. I say keep them awake at night. But a lot of parents may have an issue with that. And of course, I don't know how YouTube's algorithm works. I don't know. Networks obviously broadcast live, so they know when they're in prime time. They know when they pass the 10 o'clock hour. I don't know how YouTube works that, but they could be a bit more selective with their advertising. I've never had an issue with YouTube. In fact, the most I see on YouTube are these Geico commercials, which are quite clever. Have you seen any of the Geico commercials on YouTube where it's live action, then the commercial ends, but it's still live action? They're just they're frozen, trying to hold their positions. Those commercials won awards, by the way, at I want to say at Sundance. They won Sundance awards for those. Yeah, very clever. But yeah, a $10 subscription, which caused a bit of an uproar, I think, among some very popular YouTube channels because they didn't really understand how it was going to work, and they thought they were going to be forced into a subscription only, like a subscription only situation.
Right.
Apparently, that's not the case. They, for people that subscribe, they will be able to watch their channel ad free, but the channel will receive a share of that revenue. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right.
Hulu,
I don't see a big
Hulu
market.
has the same thing. Hulu has the same thing. You can subscribe to Hulu ad free.
I saw that. Yeah, I think I pay $8.99 a month, and I think for $12.99 they'll remove the commercials. Yeah,
something like that.
That I might do because I use Hulu a lot.
Yeah, the commercials don't bug me. They bug the Jesus out of Keith.
They annoy me because it's the same commercial over and over.
Yeah, I get up and go pee. Like it reminds me to go pee and this is on my list of things to talk about is binge watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm such a binge watcher that it's actually good for me to have the trigger to like go do something other than because as we have discussed, I'll have one screen open with Hulu or Netflix or something on while I'm working.
All right, well, let's talk about. You said something else about peeing, and I have to pee, so I'm going to cut this short. Okay. I'm going to jump to a commercial. We'll come back and we'll talk about binge watching because Hey, go on.
I just got an offer. I got a text. Somebody accepted an offer that a client made on a house. So I need to actually make a quick phone call too. So I'll call you back.
All right. Yeah. Deal with that and then give me a call back. And
I'll do it.
All right. Bye, Dan. In the meantime, in the meantime, I'm going to cut this short by about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Send you off to some commercials and music while I go Point Percy at the porcelain. Hey.
Hello.
Okay. So you got an offer accepted?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. We just hammered these people on the price of their house. So
You hammered the seller?
We're the buyers, yeah.
Mm.
And yeah.
That's not good.
We're still at break.
I mean, it's great for the buyer. It's not good for the seller.
Then they should have stayed on the market. I mean, you know.
Well, it's true.
Not,
yeah, they.
You know
they,
what I mean? Like
they don't have to accept. And
no,
when you say hammered, what are you talking about? Like 20%?
It's honestly, the house is probably worth $177, and we got it for $170.
Oh well, that's not hammered. I mean, it's a good price, but I mean, it's not. It's not even 10%. That's like 5%.
Right. Yeah, below what's probably. I mean, you know, the market is subjective. You know, but
well, it's also a buyer's market. So.
Right. You know, and they've already moved, and I don't know why the listing agent told me this, but they have found a house that they put a contingent offer on, which I assume is contingent on them selling their house. Like, why would you tell me that?
Right. Yeah, that's stupid.
Like, yeah.
Huh.
Dude, what? So I was like, okay, you know, okay.
Yeah. So how many homes have you sold now? How many homes have you closed on?
Oh, probably 20-ish, maybe.
In the last year?
Yeah.
That's brilliant, Dan.
Yeah.
Damn, you're gonna be like the fucking Donald Trump of Minnesota.
Well, I don't know about that, but
God,
I mean, you know,
I hope
honestly,
so, right?
I mean, it'll be I mean, I'm still starting out. You know what I mean? Like I'm only
That's what I mean. You're
Basically,
starting
like,
out. You've done 20
a
in less
year
than
and
a
a
year.
half
That's is it a year and a
in.
half?
No, I'm a year and a half in. I've had my license for a year and a half.
Well, then
I've
that's shit.
really been.
Well, no, that's
I've
shit.
really
That's terrible. That's
been.
shit.
My first closing was last August. Because like once you get your license, then you got to get the business.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, it's just over a year. No, that's really good. I mean, in this market here in Atlanta, people would be happy with one a month, or some people. Obviously, the market's picking up now and it's getting better.
Right.
There was just recently they'd be happy with one a month.
Yeah. I mean, and there was about a month and a half that I didn't close anything, and it was a little frightening. But yeah, I mean, I had deals working. It's just that nothing was to the closing stage at that point.
Yeah. I have to think. I sometimes think that I would be a really good real estate broker. I forgot what it was called. A really good real estate broker, but only for people that didn't have kids. Yeah. I'd be like the perfect real estate broker for single dudes. you got nothing to say, right? And there's no market for that, right? I mean, what I'm saying, there's no competition there. I would be the only. I could market myself as Xander Mack, the single dudes real estate guy. Find them the hottest areas with the most drunk toddy running around. That's drunk girls, by the way, for every.
Right. Hey, I've been watching my Towie. I'm getting it. I got it.
Oh yeah, you've been watching Towie. Oh fuck, we're talking about that when we go on. We're going on in like 30 seconds, but we're gonna talk about binge watching first.
Yes. Well, that's all one thing.
And I'm gonna explain to people why binge watching is very important.
Yes.
And it is important.
Okay.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
See, that's why I'm the tech guy. And
important for what? What do you mean it's
girl.
important?
Oh, I'll tell you. You'll find out.
All right.
Find out.
All right.
All right. Welcome back to. Go ahead. I was about to reintroduce the show, but sure, cut me off.
Welcome our friend.
What friend?
Go ahead.
What?
Welcome our friends back.
Okay. You can welcome them back if you want to. Welcome back to Tech Talk. I'm Alex. Danielle on the phone, cutting me off a lot.
Trying to get down to business. We got a lot to do here.
Let's get down to business. All right. So before we ran off, you were talking about binge watching TV shows on on whatever, Netflix, Hulu, whatever. I'm a binge watcher. I really am. And it's very important that people are binge watchers, and I'll explain why in a minute. But anyway, go ahead. What were you going to say about binge watching?
I can't remember what we were talking about, but I was having a segue as we've been working on our professional segues. I was segueing us into a conversation.
Okay, well, then we blew that one because we took a commercial break.
Yeah, you peed and I made a call and it just went to shit.
All right, yeah.
But
I don't know what we were talking about.
Oh, YouTube.
Oh, yeah, YouTube Red.
You were talking about YouTube and commercials and Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I said, speaking of Hulu, I wanted to, visit a little bit about binge watching. And maybe we could come up with a list of like our favorite binge watching shows and encourage our YouTube viewers to maybe comment down below. I'm pointing, you have to point down because I'm pointing, but they can't see me.
Down below on the YouTube video, you mean?
In the comment section, yeah.
Of YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
That people could comment down below with their favorite binge watching shows.
Okay. I'll go first. Well, I can't comment yet because the show's got to upload.
Right. No, but we can comment out loud.
I binge watch The Walking Dead, and I binge watch Orange is the New Black, which is a Netflix original, which is a great show. Although this latest season, I started to watch, got through about 4 episodes, stopped, and haven't revisited. But I will go back to it and watch.
Oh.
I will watch the rest of it. And it's very important that I do binge watch the show, and I'll tell you why.
And why is that? Why is that, Alex?
Why is that? I will tell you why. Netflix, and I'm going to say Hulu and Amazon, they base a lot of their purchasing decisions on binge watching habits. And what I mean by that is they will renew a show, or they will, obviously they have to buy the first season, right? But depending on the results they get of people binge watching that first season determines whether they buy additional seasons going forward. So if you like a show, like for example, Orange is the New Black, which is about lesbians in prison, great show. Have you watched it?
I've watched every one of them multiple times, and I listened to the book on Audible.
Did you?
Do not. Do not. Don't.
Okay.
Do not.
Anyway, if you like the show, binge watch it, and it sends a message to the service provider that it's a popular show and they will continue to buy it. So that's why binge watching is very important. Obviously, to advertisers, it's the worst thing ever. But to these streaming providers, it's critical. So what do you? And of course I binge watch. I used to binge watch Jersey Shore.
Right.
I binge watch a lot. I have Hulu as well, which comes out once a week. It's like network television streamed. So those shows I only get to watch once a week, but Netflix releases a whole season at one time, and I'll just blast through.
Hulu has seasons of shows. Howie's on there.
Mm-hmm.
Jersey Shore, all 7 seasons of Jersey Shore, plus 4 seasons of Snooki and JWoww are on Hulu,
which I haven't seen yet, and I have to watch that. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know it existed until you told me about it. I Jersey Shore.
Stumbled upon it.
Towie.
And
Towie. For people listening, Towie is it's an acronym for the only way is Essex, and it's effectively Jersey Shore in England, in London, Essex, outside of London. Oh. Now, Danny, have you watched? Go ahead.
Have you watched? Are you familiar with the show The Hills?
No.
Okay, Towie is more like The Hills, which is like a scripted. People are supposed to be legit, like real life, but you can tell it's kind of scripted. That's what Towie is. Where Jersey Shore, they take these Guidos and stick them in this shore house. But in Towie, they're like in their actual lives. You know what I mean? Like,
I fucking love it.
They're where they live, and they're awesome.
I love it. I love the Jersey Shore. I love Towie. I don't know why, because every single person in that show is dumb as a stump. I mean, there's
nothing redeeming.
Oh, they are all complete morons. My favorite character is Joey Essex.
Joey Essex. Yep, I knew that.
I love him.
He's dumb as a box of hair. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, he really is. How he survived this long is beyond me. But yeah, I told Danielle about Towie. We were talking last week about Jersey Shore and shit like that, and I said, "Oh, you gotta watch Towie." And every day now, Danielle sends me. I get one message a day. She sends me more than one message, obviously, but I get a Towie update of the day message, and it's the dumbest thing that she's seen on The Only Way is Essex for that particular day, and it's hilarious.
I have had to limit myself because I realized. I mean, I listen to you 5, 6, 7 a day, and I'm like, this man's got a job. Like, your job is not sitting in front of a computer screen watching stupid sitcoms. Right. I'm like, all right.
That's right.
I have to limit myself to one a day.
But it's nice. So, but I will say it's nice to be reminded of the stupid things that have happened on Towie. It really is.
My God.
I mean, it's bad. Oh, I'm bad because I follow half of these characters on Twitter.
Oh Lord.
Oh, it really is embarrassing. I shouldn't. I'm an intelligent man. I should not follow these morons on Twitter, but I do. They're brilliant. One of them, Lauren, is a guest contributor on the X Factor UK.
Which there are two Laurens. Is it the hot Lauren or the Lauren that's with Arj?
It's hot
Isn't that
Lauren.
Lauren?
No, that's
Okay.
that's
Dude, there are two Laurens.
yeah, there are two Laurens, but it's hot Lauren.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, she is hot.
Oh,
There are some
God.
beautiful girls on there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, one of the girls one day says, she's talking about having had, plastic surgery and whatnot, and she says, it's all about the race horses. And the other girl goes, what? And she says, big teeth and big lips. It's all about the horsey look.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I spewed water out my nose. I laughed so hard.
Mm-hmm. That was
It's all about
that
the
was
race
that was Joey's cousin or sister or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I love that
Playboy
show.
Playmate.
All right. Anyway.
Sorry. Okay. So people should comment down below on YouTube in the comment section. Because I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for my next binge.
Oh yeah. What do you binge watch? No, which brings up the issue now of Comcast and their data caps, because Comcast have been testing data caps in a number of cities now for a number of years, but now they're starting to roll them out across the nation. And my zip code is one of the areas that's been hit by a data cap, and mine is 300 gigabytes per month. Now, I don't watch regular TV. I only watch television online. I have, in fact, here's a funny story. I upgraded my service about a month ago, and the only reason I did it was to get a faster internet speed, a faster download speed. So I went to 25 megabits per second, but I had to bundle in TV to do that. So they send me this package of a fucking what do you call it? A cable box. Sorry. Which I never plugged in. I didn't even plug it in and use it. So I got a letter from them that said, you have unactivated equipment that we're going to charge you $5.49 for each month. So I called them up and I say, so I got this letter and you want me to return this equipment, or you're going to charge me, $5.50 a month. I said, but this is my cable box, and isn't that included in my base charge? And they said, yes, it is, unless you don't activate it. If you don't activate the cable box, they charge you extra to keep it.
The free cable box.
Yeah, the free cable box, they charge you extra if you don't activate it. So I returned it today. I went to the Comcast store and I handed it back to them and I said, listen, you charged me $10 to ship that to me, so you're going to credit that back to my account, which they did. They agreed to. And I thought, this is ridiculous. This is Comcast in a nutshell. They give you pay for a service, which includes a cable box, but if you don't plug in the cable box, they charge you extra money. I hate cable monopolies. I hate them.
Yeah.
And our government allowing this bullshit it's beyond comprehension. But yeah, that was my funny story of the week.
My cable data cap story.
No.
Yes. We have Mediacom.
I've no idea who that is. Is it a cable company or a DSL?
Whatever. Yeah, it's internet. It's the
cable or DSL. Is it your television
cable.
as well?
It's not DSL.
So it's cable. So they're a local cable monopoly.
Okay.
So I hate
them. But it's
them.
not our TV.
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
it's not?
We hate
okay.
Them. Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
It's not TV, no.
Okay, so we
But it's
hate
still-
we hate these people.
yes,
All right,
we do
good.
hate them.
We're on the same page. Go
They
ahead.
are what provide the internet to my house, which is shoddy at best. So about September-ish of last year, this sort of banner came across the top of my computer when I was in here, watching whatever on my computer and working on, actually it was before that, because I think it was when I was working on my real estate license, and it said, you've reached 75% of your data allowance of however much for the month. And it said, your month flips on whatever date. And I was like, that's weird. So I mentioned it to Kurt, and he's like, it's probably nothing, just carry on. So I carried on as I was going, and sure as shit, I used up all the internet for the month.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah. So, well, fortunately for me, it didn't actually run out until he was downstairs killing guys that night, and I was in the bed asleep. So he got on the phone with Mediacom and said, fix this. So they just added 10 more gigs or whatever it was to it. And so he ended up going with a 350 gig package for the house. And then it was right before Christmas, because you and I had lunch when I was in town at Christmas, and you told me how to adjust my Netflix on the computer.
Yeah, to save bandwidth.
Yes. So, so he upped our cap, and I reduced my consumption, and we didn't run out again.
Mhm.
But, so we were getting what we thought was unlimited or whatever.
Yeah, well, this is foreign to me, because I've only just become subject to the cap, and I have no idea how much data I've used in the past. Comcast do not provide a way for me to look at that. They're supposed to have a bandwidth meter that I can log into my account and check, but every time I log in, it says, "Oh, not available at this time." So I have 300 gigabytes. I've no idea how much I've used. There's no way that I can find to set up alerts so that they can text me a message when I'm close to my to my cap. So I imagine I'm going to get hit with some pretty startling overages.
Wow.
I don't know.
Our Mediacom,
but
company,
and to top it all off, they sent me a letter asking for my fucking cable box back because I hadn't plugged it in. So now, even if I do go over, I don't have a cable box I can plug in to watch regular television anyway. I hate cable monopolies. They need to die.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to get upset there. Fuck them.
So I found a useful app on my watch.
No, you didn't.
I did too.
Well, you didn't.
Remember back in the day?
You found an app.
Mm-hmm.
Go on. All right. So if this is useful, I will apologize. Go ahead. What is it?
Remember back in the day, the game Simon? The game where you would
with
it would
colored,
light up and
the colored lights. Yeah.
Simon app. I have a Simon app, so
Yeah,
I can play Simon on my watch.
Okay, so it's not a useful app. It's a time wasting app, right?
It's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
I haven't even bothered looking for apps this week on my phone. I do have an update, by the way. You remember last week? Oh God! So this is where excitement backfires and it bites you in the ass. You remember last week I was really excited because Afterpulse got released on iOS, and it was like a really good looking first person shooter.
Yes.
All right. So 1 week later, all right, I will say it's a good game. Okay, it visually it's fantastic. The gameplay is really good. It's a typical first person, kill terrorists type of scenario. But there are a few things that bug the shit out of me. First of all, I use a Bluetooth controller, and the controller support they've built into the game is like the complete opposite of any other game. The trigger, for example, your trigger is on the opposite side. So where you're used to pressing, say, the left trigger to zoom in and then the right trigger to shoot, they've got it backwards.
Okay.
Well, that's stupid. So these people must be in Australia or something. Their toilets flow their toilets flow backwards, I'm sure. But the other thing is it's a free game. I did say last week it's a freemium game where you earn you have to earn like points to progress. But it is the it is the most freemium game I've ever come across. It has dual currencies, it has timers, it has daily challenges. It has an always online requirement. It has pop-up ads. It has constant push notification. You have to set up an account to play. Oh God, they've put in so many fucking annoyances to this game that you cannot enjoy it. You can't enjoy it. I'm okay with the freemium model. I said last week I would rather pay $10 and just have access to the game. I understand why they do these freemium models, but holy shit, man. This is the worst freemium game I've ever seen. I still say download it and play it, but make sure you're a very patient person.
Yeah, that would not be us.
Yeah. Danny, so we got a break.
Is there a pay version? Okay.
No, there isn't. There isn't. And there's not an option to unlock the game completely either. It's awful. But if you're used to freemium games, if you're the kind of person that refuses to pay a penny for an app, then download it and give it a shot because it really is a good first person shooter. Dan, we're going to take a quick break. It's just going to be commercials. We'll be back at 21 after, so it's going to be like 2 or 3 minutes, enough time for me to run off and do what men do. We'll be back in a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm going to go pee real quick.
All right.
Oh, I have less time. We'll be back at 21:19. Holy shit. I'm not going to have time.
Didn't you just pee?
I don't have time to pee. I'm going to have to put on one quick song. What should I play?
Should I text my buyers and tell them we got that out?
I'm going to put on Uptown. No, I already played Uptown Funk. Maroon 5, Misery. That'll buy me.
To talk about too.
That'll buy me. Where did it go? Oh, it disappeared. Shit. Every Breath You Take, The Police. That'll buy me 4 minutes. All right, I'm gonna go pee.
Okay.
Oh, I'm back with time to spare.
Nice. That was a quick pee.
Yeah. So I'm going to remove this song, and we're just going to go back into the show.
Cool. Yeah, I have an app to talk about.
I'm gonna I'm gonna plug my sponsor. I'll plug my sponsor and then we'll talk about your app.
Awesome. I'm sure you will have.
Man, I peed quick.
Dude, you peed fast as hell. You must not have played with it after.
Well, I shook it a few times. That was it. That's not necessarily playing with it.
No.
All right, we're back. There was a quick break. It's Tech Talk again on Just for Fun Radio, justforfun.com or justforfunradio.com. I don't know. I should know, but I don't. Thank you, Gravity Craft and Homebrew Supply. I met these guys, by the way. I met Bill, I should say, at the Conyers, and I use quotey fingers here, beer festival. At the Conyers Beer Festival, and we got to talking, and then I met Bill and his wife at the Social House on Saturday, and they were complaining that I haven't been into the store yet because, you know, I talk about beer and I drink beer and I love beer, and it's like the perfect place for me to go, and I really should run in there, and I plan to, especially after trying this Oktoberfest. This is fantastic. Although I'm gonna, he was telling me Saturday about some of the seasonal stouts and porters that they have on tap at the moment. So I'm going to swing into Gravity. But thank you guys for sponsoring my show. I appreciate it. And all the others, Raw Performance, Now or Never Tattoo, Dr. Inca Racer, and the Social House. So Dan.
Yes.
App of the week. My app of the week was well, obviously follow up on Afterpulse, which was very disappointing. So what's yours?
That's an app of last week.
Well, it's the app of last week updated to this week. Don't be so pedantic. God, your PhDs are awful.
You're such an Apple guy. Okay, so I actually have two apps of the week, so I will steal yours. One is a good one. It's called Pocket, as in like the pocket on your shirt.
I have Pocket.
I like
Pocket.
And I was gonna. And I was going to say, I thought you would probably chime in on this.
Yeah.
It's one where you can sort of save articles to read later.
Yeah. It's a competitor to Instapaper. Now, I will admit that since iOS added the read later list to Safari, I don't use either Pocket or Instapaper near as much as I used to, because I have that same functionality now built into the browser on the phone. But for people on Android or other platforms do exist. Basically, you set up your account on Pocket, and it will add an extension to your browser so that when you're looking at an article and you think, oh, I want to read this later, you just send it to Pocket, and Pocket stores them and organizes them and lets you read content at your own leisure.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't know if there is some sort of native thing in my phone that'll do it. I just saw it and thought it was fun, so I added it.
I do believe Google have a read later. I'm going to look.
Google is so, I don't want to say bloaty because that's unappealing, but to me there is so much stuff going on in Google. I think there's a lot it will do that I don't do with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I find Google Drive to be fantastic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I use Google Drive even on my iPhone.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got.
I use because I use a lot of online storage options. I use Box from Microsoft. I use Dropbox. I use obviously Apple's iCloud. I use Google's Drive. The what I like about Drive though is the way it integrates with Google Docs.
Yes.
I like that for collaboration on documents and spreadsheets and things like that, which is handy for work. And I imagine handy for you with real estate.
Yes. And I would say idiot proof, except that there is no IQ test that one has to pass to be a real estate agent. So I'm not always dealing with the sharpest tools in the shed.
Sure.
It's not quite idiot proof, but it's easy to use and it is good. It is user friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So my other discovery was an app called Greenify, Greenify. Are you familiar?
No. Nope. Never
I
heard of that.
believe it's gonna turn out to be like a debloater kind of thing. It's one that if something is running in the background and it's using up a lot of battery and storage, that it will notify you. And I think if you tell it to, it will hibernate it on its own, or it'll let you know what's going on and you can choose to hibernate it. I haven't used it much. I think I am going to audition it and intentionally run some stuff and see if I can get it to trigger and see what it does just for fun.
Interesting.
But yeah, I like Pocket better, so that Greenify one can be your app of the week.
Okay. Well, no, actually, I do have an actual app of the week.
You just did your homework during class.
No, I downloaded this a few days ago. It was Apple's app of the week. It was their free app of the week, and it's called Rope, but it's spelled ROP instead of ROPE because obviously a good app does not include vowels.
Right. Except there's one in the middle of it, but whatever.
Yeah, apparently that's the rule. Twitter, well, I guess there's an I, but whatever. Rope, R-O-P.
And it's E, and it's the O in the middle is a vowel.
Shut up. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, all right. Forget what I said. I downloaded Rope.
What are you doing over there? Anyway.
I downloaded Rope, but it's spelled R-O-P. This thing, it's a puzzle game. Well, ROP, but it should be Rope because now I'm not going to be able to explain this game to anybody because it's very visual. But when you look at the game, you'll see that it's ropes. So here's what happens. Oh shit! They in the top of half of the screen is a pattern. It could be, let's say, it's two equilateral triangles oriented north and south from each other. Okay. On the bottom half of the screen, there is a grid, a hexagonal grid. So it's 3 dots and then 4 dots, 5 dots, 4 dots, and 3 dots. Hexagonal grid, and then there are these ropes with grips where you take the grip and you can move it to any of the positions, and the rope that's attached to it moves with it. And your goal is, this is a terrible description, but your goal is to replicate the pattern using the ropes at the bottom. Now, some of these grips have 2 ropes attached to them. Some of them have 3. Some of them have 1, and which would effectively leave a gap. So again, you would have to go look at the application itself to really understand what I'm talking about. But it's one of the best puzzle games I've ever downloaded, and I only say that because it's kept my attention.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's kept me interested. It's a challenge, and I've just wanted to beat this. If I wish there was a way for me to record my screen and upload this so people could see it. But anyone on iOS can go to the App Store, look up ROP, and watch the video. It's on Android too. I just downloaded it. It is? Okay. Yeah. It is. I think this is one of the best games. I don't know. I'm hearing music. Hold on. Oh, okay. That's coming from the game. I thought I'd messed up the radio again. And
yeah, did we really need a tech guy?
Yeah, that's coming from my phone. That's the damn game. All right, so if you host a radio show and you play Rope, disable the background music. Right. Yeah, so pro tip right there. But yeah, Rope, I love it. So it's on Android as well, huh?
Yes.
Is it
Yep, I
free?
just downloaded it.
Is it free?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah.
So everybody download Rope, ROP. That's my game of the week, and it's I think it's great. It's fantastic. Well, it's 9:30. That's it. That's the end of the show.
Oh, we're done.
Yeah.
We used up all our time again. I have other things to talk about. I'm gonna have to transfer them to my next page.
Well, I mean, we can go. We can go over. What is anything?
I mean, it's not,
is anything important?
nothing time sensitive. When you guys were talking about wallets, I thought about that. You know about RFDI wallets?
RFIDs.
Radio, ID. Sorry.
Radio frequency ID. Do I know? I'm the
Yeah.
tech guy. I'm the tech guy. Come on,
Right.
do it.
Well,
yeah. No. Yeah. No. I know about
waiting for you
RFID.
and Keith
Yeah.
to bring that up. I knew. You know what? I knew nothing about it because I live up here in the sticks, and people still like break into people's houses to steal their stuff. They don't walk by and scan their.
Yep. Let's talk about that next week because that's a security issue as well. RFID has RFID has some real security connotations to it. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dan, I'm going to wrap this up. I thank you very much for calling in.
Yeah. It was fun, and I will collect stuff and chat with you again next week.
Yes, you will. Thank you.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
All
Okay,
right.
bye.
Bye. All right. That's it. It's 9:30 something. We're going to wrap this up. Tomorrow, don't forget to tune in for the morning show at 7:30. And I left them cupcakes. Oh, somebody. All right. So I've been complaining that everybody gets food except for me. The Electric High Show got Chick-fil-A. The Latest Talk gets, freaking appetizers and all kind of good tasty food. And no one's ever brought me food until tonight. Somebody brought me a giant box of cupcakes, and there's a bunch left over for everybody tomorrow. So tune in at 7:30 a.m. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I don't know if there's an Electric High Show tomorrow. Thursday is Latest Talk. And I'll be back next Tuesday. And apparently we'll be talking about RFID. I thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you to you guys that watched on YouTube and anybody that will watch in the replays. We appreciate it. Don't forget to download the app. Go to the App Store and search Just for Fun Radio. Just what's written above my head there. Number 4, by the way. It's on the iOS App Store. It's on Google Play. Check us out on Facebook, Just for Fun Radio and Tech Talk and Latest Talk and Electric High Radio, all the shows. That's housekeeping done. I've been your host, obviously. Alex Zandermac, whatever you want. And check me out on the social things. I'm Zandermac on Twitter, XANDERMAC. I'm Zandermac on Instagram, but it's different because some prick has my screen name and won't sell it to me. So on Instagram, I'm XNDRMAC. And Zandermac on Facebook, facebook.com/Zandermac. That's it. I appreciate everybody listening. Thank you to our sponsors. And I will talk to you next week. Good night, guys. All right, I'm going to shut down the YouTube broadcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And don't forget, download the app. You can watch on the website, justfromradio.com, or watch us here live on YouTube. And I'll see you next week. Good night.